Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Week 3 lecture on savings. To start, we should talk about reasons to save. One of the biggest reasons is for emergencies. Unexpected expenses and emergencies are inevitable. And if you have an emergency, such as becoming sick or injured, and you don't have the money to cover those medical expenses, you can fall into debt. With debt, there's often an interest rate associated with it, where you owe additional money over time. So, by saving for an emergency now, you can save money later on. With this, it's best to start small and then build up. Think about how much $500 can get you. Maybe this is a minor trip to the hospital. From here, you can start to build up and save, say, a few $1,000s in case your car starts having issues. It's better to have some money set aside for emergencies than no money at all. We can also save for expenses and goals. Maybe you're covering car insurance each month, or you're saving up for a nicer car. With this, it can be helpful to keep goal oriented savings separate from your emergency funds. That way, you can see how much money you have in each category. And if an emergency pops up, your goal money isn't gone with it, or vice versa. And lastly, it can be helpful to save for lean times, especially if your income varies or fluctuates with your occupation. For instance, if you're a school teacher and you know you won't get paid during the summer, it can be helpful to set aside money during the school year so you can plan ahead when that money is no longer coming in. As college students, you know that saving for your education or technical training is expensive. So it's best to start saving for education early and reduce the amount of loans needed. If you are close to graduation, it might be too late to really save for your degree. However, you can start saving for your child's education in the future if you hope to have a family. And by doing so, your children may have more options for schooling if money is less of a barrier. There are investment products designed specifically for education savings, such as 529 college saving plans. These are essentially specialized savings accounts for education costs. A parent or relative puts money into the account and then it grows over time, and the money is tax free, so then you don't have to pay taxes on the earnings. So, how do we instill good savings habits? First, record all of your expenses. We'll talk about budgeting in the next lecture, but essentially, if you can forecast where changes in spending habits can be implemented, maybe you decide to make food at home instead of eating out, that is more money in your pocket that can be set aside. And it's hard to know what behaviors to change if you're not savvy to your current spending behaviors. Therefore, it's helpful to group expenses and calculate totals for each of them. And sometimes it can be surprising to see where your money is actually going. From here, we can calculate potential savings by subtracting necessary expenditures from our income to determine where we can save. Maybe a large portion of your expenses are coming from electricity, and you decide you can save by better insulating your house or simply turning off lights when you're not using them. With this, don't forget to factor in regular expenses that may not be monthly, such as doctor visits or car insurance premiums. These are things people tend to forget about, and then it's a surprise when these expenses come up. Sometimes we need to be creative when thinking about ways to reduce spending. Maybe this means working out at home and developing a whole workout routine you can do instead of paying for an expensive gym pass somewhere else. Or when I was in grad school, my friends and I held a clothing exchange where we brought all of the clothes we didn't wear anymore and exchanged them with one another for free instead of going out and buying new clothing. We might also ask ourselves what we can do to reuse things instead of buying new products. For instance, maybe really old clothing and towels that can't be used anymore become cleaning rags. And you can see that saving can become more of a lifestyle habit rather than something you just have to do and plan ahead for. Goal setting is another big part of saving. Knowing how much money you are going to put aside, how often you will add that to your savings accounts, and when that goal is reached will help you to meet those savings goals. And as discussed, try to use SMART goals, where those goals are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, so you know that they are more likely to be met. With this, avoid saving simply for the sake of saving. If you are saving and you don't know what you are saving for, this can be a source of stress. Or it might mean you have less of a reason to save, which can lead you to overspend. On a similar note, prioritize and manage needs and desires. In other words, ask yourself, is this something I actually need? Or is this just something I want but can do without? Once you identify those needs, decide what need is the most urgent. In doing so, this helps with the prioritization of your money. Another big part of saving, which sometimes we aren't even aware of, is the ability to delay rewards. We live in a society where rewards are given to us quickly and immediately. Yes, we can take time to go home and cook a healthy meal, but fast food is quick, cheap, and tastes good. Short form videos, such as with TikTok, give us immediate rewards, whereas listening to a full lecture video can be difficult. I have posted a video on this called the Marshmallow Task, which you should watch if you have not already seen it. But essentially, it shows how children may struggle to wait for a reward even when the non immediate reward is even better than what's right in front of them. The point being that money is a lot like this. It can be fun to spend money on immediate rewards such as going out with friends or buying a coffee every morning. But having a savings account for when things go wrong or to save for a bigger goal is a delayed reward. The better you are at delaying these rewards, the better you will be at saving your money. And there is evidence showing that this is a skill that can be developed with practice. So, what tools do we have for savings? It really depends on what the goal is. If you have a short term savings goal, about 5 years or less, consider opening a high yield savings account that will accrue interest over time. Typically, the more money you put in, the greater the interest you will receive. You can also open a certificate of deposit or CD account. CDs are savings accounts that hold a certain amount of money for a fixed time period, such as 3 years or 5 years. The bank pays interest on what you have deposited. However, you cannot touch that money during that period of time. If you withdraw a CD early, you can lose the interest you were building and be charged with a withdrawal penalty. So, if you have a CD, it's important that you don't touch it. You just don't have access to that money for that period of time. For a medium to long term savings goal, about 6 or more years, you might consider a brokerage or investing account so you can buy and sell things like stocks or bonds. However, you should only open a brokerage account if you are seeking a higher interest than what you would receive from a savings account because of the level of risk involved. The value of stocks fluctuate and there's no guarantee of profit. In fact, there's a chance that you could lose money. So it is helpful to consider the level of risk you are willing to take based on how much money you would like to potentially earn. There are a few things we can do to instill good savings habits. First, we can automate our savings so that money transfers directly from our paycheck into our savings account. This way, you don't have to remember to do this every 2 weeks or whenever you get paid, and then also go through the process of making this happen, whether it's driving down to the bank or logging into an account. The more work something is, the less likely we are to do it, even if it's something as simple as logging into an account and clicking a few buttons. Also, make sure to use positive reinforcement. Try to reward yourself when you meet savings goals. Doing something with no reward is going to decrease your likelihood of sticking to your goal. So make sure to celebrate your successes. And lastly, try to save practically while living sustainably. Many lifestyle practices help you to save money while also helping to keep our planet clean. For instance, if you live close by, maybe you walk to campus instead of driving, or you use a reusable water bottle instead of buying and creating more plastic waste. And that is all I have for you. If you have any questions, please let me know.